Like, share, subscribe, hit the super chat on the way in. What's going on, everybody? What's up? What's up? Okay. The struggle could have been avoided. Okay, so we're gonna start this off. And I'm sorry for being a bit late. But let's start it off like this. The struggle could have been avoided. It could have been. So there's a list of videos, list of links in the description. Shout out to the Roger Report. I finally get to review a Roger Report video, and even then I'm gonna be half-assing because I only listened to like up until Toyo was finished talking in the beginning, right? Initially. But I think it's important that I cover this. And I added a video that the Roger Report did not put in, and I removed the video that the Roger Report had. The young man speaking from the crew, I didn't need that. That was yawn. Anyway, but I did add in my new fave, my new fave. She's replacing my old fave. So Kim from Fort Harriet. So we started off with her because I really wanted to hone in on this idea of the carceral state and women, black women in particular, being punished for decisions that they made, and it causes them to not want to apologize or say that they might have made a mistake or they might have miscalculated. Pause for the cause right here. Miss Kim from Fort Harriet, what you think black men are living? Ooh, goddamn. Now you're gonna have to eat this. This entire society is gonna have to make a choice. That includes black women. Either black men get elevated to the position you are in or above, or you get brought down to the position black men are in or lower. Choose one. This entire society, including black women, are going to have to realize that when you get mistreated, when people are not forgiving of you, when people are mean to you, welcome to black men's life every single day. So you got to make a decision. Either you fix the society to be beneficial for black men, or you live in the hell that black men got to live in every single day. Your choice. Have fun. Right? Your choice. Have fun. You know, yes, it's not fair, but Miss Kim from Fort Harriet, this is where class comes in, right? And connections. You yourself you yourself have said previously that you were given grace in your youth. You crashed your mom's car drunk, right? You crashed your mom's car drunk. And what, got a slap on the wrist? No, other people would have had to eat that, would have been having to take the bus to work into school, right? After you had failed out of university on top of that, oh no, you're lucky your parents didn't kick you out, but everybody else, that's what they would have had to eat. And because you have this privileged position, because of your class position, excuse me, because of what your parents were able to do to put you and your sister in a certain class position, you don't realize everybody else don't get that opportunity. And so if they don't apologize and they don't swallow their pride, even if they do swallow their pride, they get hit upside that. They get punched in the face with life. So this is where your class position is causing you to be really myopic and actually Disney level whimsical. Right? And shout out to Spain Man, thank you for that. And super chat. And Spain Man says, black women social worker tax. Thank you very much, brother. Thank you very much. Right? Everybody else would have had to eat that decision, Miss Foster. And because of your class position, you didn't have to necessarily. But let's see, failing out of university, okay, that happens. Being sent back home because of it or having to move back home because of it, cool. Taking mom's spare car, crashing it because I'm tipsy or drunk, and getting barely a slap. And look, this is where people like Kim are so dangerous. This is why I bring them up, the Kims, the Chrissies, the Yannis, the Paris Milans, because they either make YouTube money or even before YouTube money, they might have had a position or, they had a class position or something. They have family members looking out, relatives, they have a network. They speak really whimsically when they speak to all the other women who watch them and listen to them. It's really naive. And that's why I keep on telling all the other women, particularly the younger women, y'all keep on listening to these women. They're gonna lead you off a cliff and then pick your pocket on the way down. Now, Kim from Fort Harriet, I'm not gonna say so much her in that case because I think she's a true believer. But Chrissy and all the rest of them, oh no. Particularly Paris and Yanni, particularly Paris in that respect. But I'm tying this to Kim by saying this whole we don't want to say, ooh, I should have never made that decision. Ooh, I should have calculated better. Ooh, I should, because we're gonna get buried by it. You're gonna get buried by it anyway. At least being apologetic will ease the pain just a smidge. Maybe life and definitely people won't hit you with all the consequences. But if you stand on your pride after mistakes, let me say this, because Black women like to think that these type of things are exclusive to them or just really, really pernicious when it comes to them. No, everybody got to eat those consequences from 5 and 10 and 15 and 20 plus years ago. You think that's exclusive to Black women? That's not exclusive to Black women. Right? That's not exclusive to Black women. As a matter of fact, many would argue, particularly in the Black manosphere, y'all don't even get hit with everything Black men get hit with. You want to live our life? Kim from Fort Harriet, do you want to live the average Black man's life? I guarantee you, you just told yourself no. Whether you say it out loud or not, it's going to be a different conversation. Then shut the hell up. Ooh, Mr. Z, did you just minimize somebody else's struggle? Yeah, kind of. Yeah. Yeah, I did. Like I said, pick a struggle. Either help to elevate Black men, but you won't because you already said you ain't even going to protest for Negroes, so there's that. Either help to elevate Black men or be drugged down to the hell that Black men are living every day. Choose one. This whole, I'm going to, stand on my pride, be egoic, stand on my pride, not be apologetic because I'm afraid, I'm going to get hit upside the head with the consequences. You're going to get hit upside the head with the consequences anyway. What you're really doing is playing plausible deniability, thinking that if you don't apologize, then it didn't happen, or at least you didn't do it on purpose. See, what is happening is a lot of this isn't mistake. It's cold, calculated choice. And when it's time to pay up for cold, calculated choice that didn't work in your favor, now you want to play plausible deniability. By the way, that's not exclusive to Black women, but what Black women are engaging in, and other women, this is, once again, this is like a people thing. This is a people thing. But our society is a little bit more lenient to women, so Black women get to play in that game too, is, I didn't know. The I didn't know, see, the I didn't know is why people, men, rest of society, that's when people get mad. That's when you get hit with all of the consequences and people seem to enjoy it. That plausible deniability, which you're engaging in right now, Miss Kim Foster. The I didn't know way, we don't get to grow up. Yes, you get to grow up. Yes, you make mistakes. Everybody does. And no, Mr. Z is not for hitting everybody upside the head with the book every single time they make the slightest mistake, go off course in just the smallest way. No, that's not fair, and it's not the way it should be. You're absolutely correct. I agree with you on that. Any slight run afoul, you hit them upside the head because you're trying to prove a point. No, Kim is right about that. But that's not what's going on here. What's going on here is people are making very cold and calculated decisions about their life. It doesn't work out the way they wanted it to work out. Then they get to play plausible deniability. And you know who don't get to play that game? Black men. Y'all get to sow your royal oats. You get to do this. You get to do that. And we get to eat all the consequences with no excuses. You forgot that part. And I dare a Black man to say he didn't know. I dare a Black man to talk about, I didn't know. Even if you didn't know. As a matter of fact, if you didn't know, the world would probably hit you upside the head even harder. because you were naive. So I had to bring that video up. And what was a little heartbreaking, and shout out to the sister Toya, is when Toya was speaking on the Roger Report, and I only got to hear her initial commentary about what's going on with her and her personal life, and that you know, the thought is that, you know, she has to eat a lot of this on her own, um, and it would be great to have some help. But you know, oftentimes she fits the description. She's a black woman, and she has to live with the consequences, much like black men have to live with the consequences of some of the knuckleheads, right? She has to live with the consequences of being under the same tent simply because she's a black woman of some of these other people. And I'm not putting words in her mouth, but people like Kim, right? People like Miss Kim Foster, right? And it's actually a bit sad. And this is what we're saying. So, you know, I don't want to put too much of Toya's life out there, but you know, Kim has a safety net with her in a way that she can say these type of things and be a naive, a-hole, mean person, sassy on some elitist white woman thing, and don't have to deal with the consequences. And the problem with that is that she makes the life of other women who don't have the network with them, or at least their network isn't right next to them the way hers is. She makes their life difficult because she's loud. Because she's loud, and she's an a-hole, and she's sassy, and she's a wannabe elitist white woman, and she's a classist. Right? She may not be rhetorically a classist, and even then, but effectively, she is. Because the way she speaks about punishment and consequences and the way people should think and move comes from her class position. The rest of us, that includes black men, got to think 15 and 20 years ahead. And if you don't, then you're going to get hit upside the head with the consequences of not thinking that far ahead. And that's what makes what she's saying so dangerous. Because effectively, it's classism. It may not be rhetorically classism, but effectively, because of her perspective and what informs it. Because of her perspective and what informs it. That's why I put the other link for the more seasoned woman that spoke about, and shout out to the Raj Report for giving us that video, right? That spoke about, you know, black women being so educated, but are you really? This is the same woman, by the way, Kim from Fort Harriet, that brought up maybe we need to bring back we don't need these Negroes feminism. And Negroes wasn't the word that she used. So for a person to not want to be hit upside the head with all the consequences, but then advocate for things that we know aren't beneficial for black women, I don't know, like being by yourself and talking about you don't need these. Extra women are dealing with the consequences of we don't need these Negroes feminism right now, Kim. Extra women are dealing with the consequences right now. And you still came out your mouth and said, yeah, maybe we should bring back we don't need these Negroes feminism. You woman from your class position because of your rhetoric. Because of your rhetoric. That we don't need these Negroes feminism sound nice from your class position, Miss Foster. You can say that. You can think that. You can believe that, especially now you're making your YouTube money. You can live that to a certain extent. All these other black women, not so much. But yet you have a huge channel speaking the way you do, not thinking of the consequences for the everyday black woman who adopts your worldview. Yikes. Okay, let's continue. The young lady that the Roger Report covered, speaking about, you know, her interaction online with the young man. So the way we speak in the black community, largely, especially before the Black Manosphere was a thing, is that black men who hurt you. So the second black men start speaking some real, start being a bit aggressive, it's who hurt you, black man, who hurt you? You're jaded. And now really who hurt you comment is not because these people actually care. It's actually a way to dismiss your situation, right? the "who hurt you, black man" is not, it's not something that these people actually care about. They're actually trying to say you're soft and you're weak, or you're just a hurt, jaded person, and it is a way to like kind of dismiss your demeanor and why you're speaking the way you are. Cool. And this young lady was speaking as if this man doesn't have a past with black women also. He hasn't read comments online from black women also, right? So if Kim Foster wants to speak about mistakes and how this society, including black women, treat black men who have made mistakes, or who have gotten hurt, or who have gotten played, believe it or not, black men get played too. Oh, wait, before Steph Curry and Kim from Foyer start speaking, and Chrissy and Yanni start speaking, and black men get played by women who aren't even their preference. Oh God, really? Yes. Yeah, you heard right. Yeah. You think black men don't give black women that we find marginally attractive chances to? You think that's not a thing? You think y'all the only one doing that? So yeah, black men give their not so preference women chances too, and they get played by those women also. It's not just you. By the way, side note for all of you brothers that don't know, half the reason why some of these sisters be so extra mad when y'all break up or when it go left is because you weren't her first choice anyway. She felt like she got played or wasted time with a man she didn't even prefer anyway. She was giving you a chance. You're not even her type. Oh yeah. Yeah. But like I was saying, black women aren't the only ones doing that. They keep on thinking they're the only ones doing that, and that's why they think that's why they adopt all of this black women backbone of the black community. We be giving y'all chances, yada yada yada, etc., blah blah blah. Yawn. Right? Yawn. Continuing though, the young lady speaks as if this man doesn't have experiences also. Right? And this is one of the major back and forth between black men and black women, is the minimizing of others' experiences, right? But what black women fail to consider is that you have had the microphone for the past 5 decades at least. This is why, and I wanted to say this in a previous video, the reason why the black manosphere is sticking in a way that kind of this kind of third wave of black feminism, this third wave of feminism, black feminism isn't sticking, is because simply y'all have had the microphone, and a bigger microphone, for longer. White society, white racist society gave you the microphone. They put the thumb on the scales for you. Just much as how they do when they go overseas and choose which group they want to back for their own ends, they did it within the black community. Shout out to Nixon calling you within a nation. Right? And so this society decided that black women are less threatening. We're going to give them the microphone to talk crap about black men and be the colonizing agent within the black community for us. And so you got to eat them consequences, Kim. And I know it's not Kim. Kim is even younger than me. But her ideological side, that side, oh yeah. Y'all got to eat the consequences of the first thing you did when you got the microphone is not rail against white supremacy. It was talk crap about black men, and increasingly talk crap about black men as the decades wore on. Oh, you're going to have to eat that, ladies. Oh, and that wasn't a mistake, Miss Foster. That was very cold and calculated. Go look at the Combahee River Collective. That was a very cold and calculated choice and decision. And so heterosexual straight women have to deal with the consequences that primarily lesbian, same-sex loving women and other women in a very elitist, classist position thought of 50 years ago, give or take. And the Kim Fosters of the world continue that banner from their elitist position, trying to give advice that's going to fail. This is why Mr. Z has videos speaking about all these celebrity extra women with all this money, all this fame, and single as a loose leaf paper, thirst trapping on Instagram. Sympathy hunting on YouTube. Going interview to interview, look like they need a hug. They really need a hug. They need more than a hug. Giggity. But that pride won't let them. That same pride that you're speaking about, Miss Foster, right? That same pride. So eat it. Choose one. Die with your pride with a cat nibbling in your face, or die with a man. Choose one. You can have your pride and be single, and there's nothing wrong with being single, right? But the women that are single are often not happy, but they're eating their pride. They won't let. Shout out to Lonnie Love. We all, for those of us that were following, she was happy being single, and then when she ended up with the white dude, she broke down and pretty much told us she was faking the whole time, as if we didn't know. Maybe them white folks ain't know. Maybe your coworkers ain't know. They knew. But black people, black men in particular, oh yeah, we definitely knew. Right? So, continuing, I put the links in the description because it needed to be said. These things needed to be said, right? And I'm gonna go back and listen to the rest of the Roger Reports stream, right? But definitely what Toya was speaking about, her particular situation, right? And and this is a an aware woman um who's single and understands how certain things could have been mitigated. It would have been perfect. These things would have still happened, but these are things that she may not have had to go through on her own if she was in a relationship, right? And this is a person that's not being too prideful to admit that. And on the flip side, you have someone trying to excuse the pride. Well, die with your pride then. If black men are forced kicking and screaming to admit things when we try not to, which by the way, for the most part, it don't be taking all of that. But women get to keep their pride, then you got to deal with the consequences of standing on that pride though. If black women want to keep their pride, that's cool. You're a human being, you can have that. And especially if you're not doing anything illegal, it's not something that you did that's legal, but maybe you did something reckless and you got to deal with the consequences, then you could keep your pride. As a matter of fact, once again, we come right back to what I just said, literally, which is that's why I brought up so many extra black women. I want this lifestyle. I want this baller. Da, 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 da. Cool. You're the celebrity. You're the rich one. You're the famous one. You still want to do that? Make more than you. You're a millionaire. So eat that. Eat your delusions. Right. Eat your delusions. I bring that back to Miss Kim Foster. Yes, there are people that get off on punishing others. That it's actually pretty damn sick. I agree with. I've always agreed with Miss Kim Foster on that. Mr. Z is not about hitting you upside the head for the smallest infraction. No, no. But that plausible deniability that our society allows women to play. See, Miss Kim Foster, if you want to end the patriarchy, whatever patriarchy you think still exists, if you want to end it, you got to end it all the way. Let me say that again. You have to end it all the way, which means women don't get to play plausible deniability no more. That's part of the patriarchy, by the way. Infantilizing women and allowing women to play a damsel in distress, that's part of the patriarchy, Miss Kim. The plausible deniability, the I didn't know, that you're going to save me anyway, even if I made the mistake knowingly because I'm a woman. That's damsel in distress, by the way. Yeah. You want to end it. See, Brother FD, I told you they don't really mean it, bro. Even Kim from Fort Harriet don't really mean it. They don't mean it. They're going to contort themselves into a pretzel trying to fuse these two things together. They're going to use different words. They're not going to call it what it is. That's the patriarchy. They don't mean it, and they don't mean it. And the professional says, see above. Give me a second. Let me make sure. Say they choose a man. You ever give a thought about the life the man if she chooses him? The life of the man, I think you mean. The life of the man if she chooses him? Good point. A-hole like that, choosing a man, good point. Good point. What life does that man get to live with a woman who wants to be, who wants a patriarchy without the patriarchy at the same time? Wants the wants the patriarchy but doesn't want the patriarch. That's true. Wants the patriarchy in everything but name, while simultaneously wanting to be independent, while simultaneously wanting to be Rosie the Riveter, while simultaneously wanting to be I Am Woman, Hear Me Roar, but wants the safety net of the patriarchy, but doesn't want to call it the patriarchy. I said this to the brother FD, and I don't think he knows. Let me take that back, because he said it too. He knows. But what I did tell him, and I don't think he appreciated, was way more women are claiming this egalitarian stuff that don't really mean it. Kim Foster is a prime example. You don't want to get hit upside the head the way the men do. Kim, you don't want to live an average black man's life. You don't. The average black woman don't want to live an average black man's life. We don't get roughed up, we get killed. We don't get spoken to harshly, we get cursed out. Right? You don't want this life. They even show you black men with money still die prematurely, still die from all the horrible diet related, stress related things that the everyday black man and poor black man do. Because your money didn't elevate you. Is that the same for black women with some money? No, it's not. Even with money, the stress. You don't want this life, Kim. But you're doing a whole lot of talking over there, over intellectualizing your misandry. Shout out to Toya. Right? Over intellectualizing your misandry. Right? So, you know, I wanted to link these things together. The more seasoned woman speaking about these things. I wanted to link Kim from For Harriet. I wanted to speak about Toya and her situation. Shout out to the brother, the Roger Report. And I also want to link the young lady speaking about her interaction online. And I haven't really focused on that. Let's spend a couple minutes on that. You know, the young lady speaking about her conversation with the young man online. Cool. Like I said, he has a preconceived notion, so you say, but you do also. And you did prove his point. The back and forth between black women is unsustainable. I said this on my New Year's Day video, right? Or was it Christmas video? Black men don't win, black women don't win, but black women lose harder, right? Black women lose harder, and Kim from Fort Harriet would have you believe that that's the best for you because of her pride, which she can have because of her class position. These people are waging a jihad against other black men with your lives, black women. These black women, well, let me say that again. Rewind, let's say that again, just in case y'all didn't hear me. These black women, like Kim Foster, are waging a jihad against black men using your life, using your image, using your likeness. Right? And then they claim this, how harsh this society is, and it's causing black women to not want to admit that they might have miscalculated. They might have had a season in their life when they just were, you know, mean for no reason, sassy for no reason, you know. No, y'all didn't want to admit that anyway. You wanted people to eat it. You just used the excuse of getting hit upside the head as a reason why you don't want to be apologetic and more conciliatory, right? And show some contrition. No. Eat the consequences. Kim Foster is a millennial watching scores of extra women suffer because of what she's advocating for, and she's still saying it. Oh my God. Those women are living with their pride. That's why they're marrying themselves. That's why they got to take trips to Bali to get their sanity correct, which I'm pretty sure didn't get their sanity correct. That's why they're entering same-sex loving relationships and then still going through all of the stuff they would have been through with a man, and then come back to air quotes heterosexuality. Now that just means they're bi, because they thought there was an escape route with women instead of men. Train tracks, train tracks, train tracks. That's why they're divorcing their husbands within 5 years, which you're advocating for, Miss Kim Foster. And shout out to the brother Better You. Yeah, I read the whole thing, the whole article. Some 20 some odd percent, was it 20% or something along those lines, of women regret getting divorced because of their pride. He did this one thing, I'm out the door. Oops. Left the toilet seat up too many times. Shit, even if he cheated, you better eat that. Oh, ladies, oh yeah, I said that. If he cheated, he didn't come up with a baby or disease, you better eat that. It's mean out here. How la looking right now? Ooh, goddamn, Mr. Z. Yeah, it ain't right. It ain't fair. You know what else is not right and not fair? When something go bump in the night and a man got to go see what it is. You think men don't be scared too? What about if I missed that first shot? What about if I missed that second shot? But we eat that. Oh no, ladies, you can't have it all, and you definitely can't have it all at one time. Yeah, Better You, thank you. And Better You says about a third overall, 80% in case of infidelity. Thank you. Right? So a third of women regret it, or a third overall for couple for men and women regret getting divorced. A third, all of that pride. So I just want to come in today to say, Miss Foster, these ladies can have their pride. They can have their pride. They cannot be apologetic. They cannot show contrition. They cannot be conciliatory. That's cool. You don't have to do that to. You don't have to have that demeanor or attitude. You don't have to say that to individual men that you have harmed or done wrong. You don't have to have that. That's cool. No, correction, Kim. You don't have to have that. These other women can pretend like they're you and then deal with the consequences, right? They can pretend like they're you, but they have to deal with the consequences in a way you didn't have to deal with. Because I don't know how many people can fail out of Harvard, then turn around, crash mommy's car while drunk, Difficulties, everyone. Technical difficulties. It happens. Okay, continuing. So something I was saying earlier, um, shouting, to be honest. Who gets killed by their parents more? You want to speak about, being conciliatory and apologetic, and how harsh this world is, and how this causes you maybe not to be so conciliatory and apologetic? Who gets killed? Who gets unalived by their parents more? Black boys, by the way. The answer is black boys. You want to talk about the carceral state? Who's incarcerated at the highest percentage of their population? You want to talk about the carceral state? Huh. And who's killing those black boys, by the way? Detroit has the answer. Mothers. They're black mothers. You want to talk about a small mistake? These boys can't even make a small mistake. And here we got a grown woman talking about essentially, the harshness of the punishment for women who made, small infractions, and how this society wants to punish them forever. Ain't no forever if your mom kill you because you left the toilet seat up at 7 years old one too many times. You want to talk about carceral state and punishment forever. Like I said in the beginning, choose one. Either everyone gets treated like a black man, or we treat black men better. This entire society, including black women, are going to have to make a choice. Right? Are going to have to make a choice. Right? So this is something that people are going to have to decide, going to have to come to terms with. That's why I'm mentioning the videos that I'm mentioning. I put the links. Shout out to the brother, the Roger Report. Shout out to Toya, right? But the young lady, in the video speaking about, the relationship between men and women, it's very interesting, right? Because we witnessed that with Miss Foster. These people that keep on thinking that black men's lives are easier than theirs, or worse yet, if black men would just get down with whatever the hell the Kim from Fort Harriet type of women are saying, our lives would be easier. Well, we're oh boy, you gotta watch your mouth sometimes when you get on the roll. Let's just say we are not perceived as these non-threatening, classist, elitist, wannabe white women, right? And so, because we are not essentially chocolate dip, elitist, classist white women, the society is far less forgiving on us. And even if we attempted to be that, go see your LGBTQ brothers. The world is just slightly teeny tiny, a bit softer, but not really. Once again, go see your nearest LGBTQ black man. You see? I'll never forget that boy that went out over a memory card. But Kim from Fort Harriet is talking about why black women aren't apologetic because they're afraid of what? Rhetorical repercussions? Because for the most part, it won't be physical. What, you afraid people gonna look at you as a certain way? Right, that you're loosey-goosey or something like that? Or that you out here? You still get to live? We got kids getting murdered by their parents, by their mothers. Boys. But I forgot, you don't really care about that. You do rhetorical every once in a while mentioning it, but you don't really care about that. Meanwhile, the women, when they become adults, got to deal with the consequences of less black men. And then the Chrissies and the Yannis and the Parises of the world tell them to go swirl so they can get played and be the sex toy for some white dude who then drops them off back in the black community. Yikes. And that's for the white guys that would have them. But yet, Kim Foster is telling us why black women aren't as apologetic. And better uses, there was a dude in college. He said his stepmom would wail on him if he made noise taking a leak, essentially taking a leak standing up, urinating standing up. Wow. Right. Huh. And we got this grown woman speaking about how this society positions black women. How do you think it positions? You know, these people always want to talk about numbers until we really start talking about numbers and the consequences of black women, like Miss Kim Foster said, that we don't need these Negroes feminism. The consequences of that on black women. You want to talk numbers? You attended Harvard, lady. Harvard. These people want to talk about numbers right up until we got to talk about the numbers of black women got to suffer the consequences of not caring about black men. Oops. Or we talk about black men in a way, because remember, they're weaponizing victimhood in a way, right? This is where intersectionality comes from. And so when it seems like black men are the primary victims of a situation, nobody want to have that conversation. Outside of maybe the police state and police brutality, which then black women and black LGBTQ use to then fund their projects. Right? This is ridiculous. Grown woman still acting like a child. Bruh, I said it before. Y'all are just grown little girls. Yeah, you could pay your bills. Yeah, you could wipe your own rear end. Yeah, you could put 4 and 5 syllable words together. But the way y'all speak is so Disney-esque. It's so whimsical. It's so cartoonish. And then the higher your class position, you get to do that even more. You get to engage in that type of rhetoric and language even more, because you didn't have to be out here with the real struggle. And other black women that got to deal with that real struggle, you're still trying to give them advice. What the hell? Which is going to leave them hurt and lonely and just out here, which is also probably going to screw over the men in their lives. Oh, I forgot. That's the part you don't care about. And the professional 238 says she shot that child, thought about it, then shot him again. Y'all forgot about the professional, talking about professional, the professional black woman, I think it was what, 2 years ago, give or take, who killed her son also, and the husband, I mean the ex-husband, came to her defense. Is that the same story? I don't think that's the same story. And so yeah, the clip that I put up of Miss Kim Foster, she said that in her in the video that I covered a couple days ago. I forgot that she said that, actually, believe it or not. I actually forgot that she said that. So when she put it as one of her shorts, I remembered, I recalled her saying that there was so much to cover in the video I did. So um, that's why you see me speaking about it now. Y'all give me a second. Give me a second. You know, so Okay, Big Game says that's the same kid. Okay, okay, right. Cheryl Bentley said the ex was like, she is a good kid. Nigga. Hey, guys, huh. Meanwhile, you got football players being harsh with their sons, spanking their sons, and the whole world want to critique how black men father. While also saying that black men aren't there to father, and then when they're there to father, then when they're there to father their children, then critiquing the way they father their children. Kick rocks, right? So, um, dear young lady, whoever that was, I'm gonna follow her channel. I'm gonna, see what's going on with her channel. I think she has some very interesting titles. Um, if you want to know about the back and forth between black women and why it's so vitriolic, just search the internet, right? And I will say this: the conversation amongst black people on the internet is a special type of toxic, right? Whether it's skin tone or class or income, education level, um, man, woman, straight, LGBTQ, it is a special type of toxic online. That is true. The vast majority of us are not speaking to each other like this on a day-to-day basis. And we live amongst each other. And I would argue the majority of black people would rather live amongst each other than not, right? But with that said, the anonymity of the internet allows for people to talk real reckless in a way they would never in someone's face. Never. Half of these people won't even talk about these people the way they do when the person confronts them, even on the internet. Let alone if this person was standing in front of them in real life. Indigo Foe says black women social worker tax for the new research. I mean, I only put up one video. The rest I got from the brother the Roger Report. Right? Shout out to the brother Roger Report. Shout out to Toya. And in that, here we have a woman who's being reflective, who's thinking to themselves about community. They're thinking about, and they're not just doing lip service to it. They're thinking about their situation and how things would be given if they had well, I was gonna say partner, millennial, a spouse or someone with them to go through some of these things, right? And then on the flip side, you have somebody essentially trying to say, we punish women, we don't give them a chance to grow, we don't give them no, everybody has a chance to grow. But if you're black, everyone expects you to be grown by the time you're like 10. That particularly includes black men. And it's not about punishing black women and throwing the entire book at them. Black women don't get the book thrown at them. I would like to direct you to your nearest black man. Right? No, it's not that. It's the plausible deniability. It's the standing on you want to know why certain black women, it seems like the world throws the book at them? Because the world can't stand a person standing on their pride when they dead ass wrong. And all that plausible deniability. And so because the world tells people, that includes men, if you don't have something nice to say, don't say anything at all. And because, believe it or not, the society raised men to be just a bit gentlemanly. And if you're a bitch, if you bicker back and forth with women, you know what that means? That means men don't tell you what's wrong with you necessarily. They just leave you alone eventually. Right? They just leave you alone eventually. And you know what that means? That means you got to live this life knowing what's wrong with you, but not being told it necessarily by a man, standing on your pride, playing plausible deniability, and then dealing with the consequences of that. What did the older woman say? The more seasoned woman? Black women got to be a special type of stupid. I would disagree. I don't think it's not stupidity. It's not even naivete. It's standing on their pride. Women have pride too. We speak about men and their pride. We speak about men and their pride ad nauseum, and we don't speak about women and their pride. And that's all women, not just black women. And how many, particularly black and white women in America, about to be cat ladies when they're in their 50s and 60s, if they're not already, because of their pride. It's not that anybody did anything to them. It's that they were insufferable and stood on it, Miss Kim Foster. You want to talk about carceral state and being punished forever for something? You want to know what the punishment forever is? It's for you being insufferable. It's not the mistake. It's standing on it and saying it wasn't a mistake. And standing on that for a year, and then 5 years, and then 10 years, and then 20 years. Fine then, eat that. And Miss Trina B said children should get to be children. They mess up and make mistakes. I agree. I agree, Miss Trina B. Right? I agree. But what ends up happening is that we have 34-year-old adults that want the same passes as your sassy teenager. You know, the teenagers that think they know what they're doing and they think they're grown, but they're not. And you know they're going to mess up and you got to give them space to mess up and then put a foot in their ass, but not too much and give them a chance to grow. Yeah, we got 34-year-old women that want to be treated like that. This is why Rebecca Lynn Pope is calling, how old was that young lady at the time? 34, 35 years old. That's why she called it a 34, 35-year-old, maybe even a 36-year-old at the time, a girl. I'm talking about the average at best lady, y'all. Because many women don't actually mean this equality, egalitarian thing they're talking about. They don't actually want that. They want egalitarian in name only. They don't actually want the full weight of what it looks like to hold up half the sky. They want to be infantilized sometimes. They want to play damsel in distress sometimes. They want preferential treatment sometimes. They want you to treat them kindly and to defer to them and to pull chairs out and to open doors and to pay for first dates and all the dates, quite frankly. While still claiming independence and self-determination. So that's why we have adult women speaking about being punished in a way that they're not even you want to see punishment? How many young men died at the hands of their parents, primarily their mothers, when their mothers are, air quotes, punishing them? You want to talk about punishment? Y'all are some weak little girls in women's bodies. I'm not saying that about you, Miss Trina B. And the only reason you get to speak the way you do is because your parents put you in a position and your network. And so you're going around the world with your theories about stuff. And the other women who got to be out here in the real world struggling, trying to live up to your theories about stuff and getting their heads scalped by society, by life. And quite frankly, by black men's indifference. The indifference that's often brought about because they think like you, Miss Kim Foster. So going to the title, all of this could have been avoided if you wouldn't just stand on your pride. But you can have your pride. You can stand on it. This is a free society. That's your prerogative. But deal with the consequences of standing on your pride. So tying everything together, right? You can stand on your pride if you want. Cool. You can be unapologetic. Cool. You can not care about what black men care about and not try to see where the angle that black men are coming from, right? What they say, you're too black male identified. You're too male identified, right? That sound nice. You can adopt the extreme feminist tenet that says don't do anything for the express pleasure of men. For black women, it would be don't do anything for the express pleasure of men, particularly black men. You can adopt that. Right? You can do all of that. So tying all of these together, like the more seasoned woman said, all that education, all of that education for Nye. And for what? So you can pay bills by yourself? So you can flex on men about how much you don't need them? Meanwhile, you got to run out to the Quickie Mart or the corner store every couple of days for new batteries? I hope y'all got that joke. Right? And a new box of toilet tissue or Kleenex. Y'all think these ladies ain't pleasuring themselves and then crying afterward. Go ahead. Because they listening to women like Kim, and they've been listening to women like Kim for 50 years. Right? And Trout Bentley, yeah, but no, expressly. So don't do anything for the express pleasure of men, specifically black men. Yeah. Yep. You see what I'm saying, Spain Man? And Spain Man says, I imagine that women that speak like this still sleep in princess themed rooms like they did when they were 7. Tiana posters and ish, bro. You see what I'm saying? I think Tiana wasn't that the Princess and the Frog, right? When Disney finally decided to give us a black princess, and even then she was a frog for more than half the movie. And they played up the mulatto savior stereotype. You see me, Trail? Trail said, go to Apu for the family pack of D batteries. Hey. Put it in the book. Azriel says, female post-nut clarity. Don't worry, she could get up out that bed, go to work the next morning, and still be an a-hole. Even though 8 hours ago, 9 hours ago, 10 hours ago, she was crying her eyes out, being both wet in the face and wet somewhere else. Right? So, you know, this is what these people are talking. Like, are you taking stock of your class position, Miss Foster, and how you can speak from your privileged position about theories that aren't going to actually work for the masses of American women before we even factor race, and then specifically for the masses of black women? Do you not understand you can stand on your pride? And the world, because of your financial position, You can stand on your pride, and you have your money to fall back on, and you have your family and their money to fall back on, and their access and their connections, and you have your Harvard connections to fall back on. Do you know how many black women don't have that? And the one thing they would have to fall back on, a black man. Forget what you're talking about black, these flaky black men, whatever. A black man, they don't have that because they think like you. You can afford to be insufferable, Miss Foster. Other women cannot. We have a whole I keep on bringing up the Xers. We have a whole generation of bitter Xer women who thought they were their celebrities, their favorite celebrities. So now the celebrity's single and miserable, and the people that used to listen to them are single and miserable. Right? And on that note, I'm a pause it right here. Love, peace, and chicken grease. Let Mr. Z get out of here. This is some sad stuff, everyone. Right? All of the much of the struggle, not all, much of the struggle could have been avoided or at least mitigated with a stand-up, 10 toes down person in your life, a man in your life. But you have these content creators. You have Oprah 2.0 and Miss Kim Foster doing the same thing Oprah did for the Xer and Boomer generation. And it sounds nice, but let's see. I'm only a couple years older than Miss Foster. Let's see if Mr. Z gets to live that long. Let's see how this conversation goes in, let's say, the next 20 to 30 years, 2 to 3 decades. Let's see. Like I keep on telling y'all take stock and remember these names and faces of these women that are speaking the way they are. When y'all are single, lonely, miserable, and you come to terms with the fact that you're single, lonely, and miserable, and you're honest with yourself about it, that's going to take a lot. Y'all remember the faces and the people that told y'all, it's not going to be that hard. And it's okay to not be apologetic and conciliatory, right? Oh, and let's bring back these, we don't need these men, and I'm saying men, she didn't say that. We don't need these men feminism. That's a verbatim. She really said, we need to bring back, we don't need these, actually she said a different word, but let's say it like this. We need to bring back, we don't need these Negroes feminism. This is a content creator that was a Harvard attendee that's saying that. Meanwhile, your everyday average black woman is struggling. Oh, we speak about that all the time, Miss Trina B. And Miss Trina B said, I can't tell you how many young men had their first encounter with a much older woman. That's wrong. I really believe that has had an adverse effect on these men later on. Miss Trina B, none of those women over there on that side speak about that. None of them. We speak about that over here all the time. But you remember, with their brand of feminism, they get to nitpick, right? Which parts of this conversation about air quotes equality they want to actually engage in. So speaking about R. Kelly and how he got to be the R. Kelly he is now, who preyed on him before he was preying on young women? They don't want to have that conversation. They don't want to have the conversation of the 14 and 15-year-old that lost their virginity to a 23, 24-year-old woman. They don't want to have the conversation of the women, the young women, the young girls losing their virginity to a woman also. How all through black communities are young underage girls and boys losing their virginity to women, young women in their mid and early 20s. Nobody want to have that conversation. Because they don't actually mean the equality part. Because part of the equality part isn't just the positives, right? All the pluses that come from women being elevated to that position of a man. And they really don't want the position of a man. They want the position of the elite men. There's that also. But it's also women being punished and being critiqued and being spoken about just as harshly as men, possibly. And us being, wait a minute, we speak about the men that prey on girls all the time. We speak about the men that drive around high schools all the time. We speak about the men flirting with the 17-year-old behind the counter all the time. We speak about that. Or the men tapping on their fingers waiting for the 17-year-old to be 18 all the time. We speak about that. You know what we don't speak about? The fact that your son lost his virginity to your best friend. Ooh, Mr. Z. I know a story now. I have a former coworker now. She's part of the LGBTQ brigade. You want to know her first experience? Was with her mom's friend. Her mom still don't know. Her mom still don't know. Her mom know that she's part of that lifestyle, but her mom still don't know. The first experience was with her friend. Right? So when Miss Foster speaks, she don't want to go nowhere near that. None of them want to go nowhere near that. Whether it's the Chrissy Yanni Paris side of the game, all the way to the extreme of the Lexus Exodus and Mahogany Pink, and then when you go to the Khadijah and the Kim Foster side of the game, none of those women anywhere over there in the broad spectrum of black women empowerment and black women's self-determination, none of them want to have that conversation because it's going to get real ugly real fast. It's going to get real ugly real fast when you find out that your son lost his virginity to your close friend or to your neighbor's grown-ass daughter. Or even if he didn't lose his virginity to her, that your son, who's 17, is smashing a 25-year-old. And Ms. Trina B said, I agree, the privilege cannot speak for the masses anymore. That's what's happening. And they're lying by omission. They're purposely leaving certain things out of the conversation. Right? I remember hearing this, and I think it was a black woman that said this. She said, you know, they want to sensationalize DV, right? And so when she would try to have the conversations about DV that's not intimate, let's say terrorism, right? Intimate terrorism, when she wanted to speak about the mutual combat and how we get there, she was kind of shunned. Because the only type of DV they want to speak about is the man comes home, asks where his food is not on the table, and he goes to backhanding his wife. That's the only type of DV they want to speak about. The theys, whoever the theys are. Because it was about demonizing men, right? Demonizing men and using that demonization of men to paint a certain narrative and then get all of the boggles and all of the trophies from the demonization of men. Get all the wins and victories from the demonization of men. If we speak about this like he walked in the door, asked where the food is, we got into an argument, I struck him first, he struck me last because he's stronger and faster. We can't have that. No one wants to have the conversation about women initiating DV situations, and because the man is stronger and bigger, he finishes it. No one wants to have that conversation, particularly black feminists, because we know how our sisters are. They don't want to have that conversation. That's why the conversation is always geared towards don't ever put your hands on a woman. Because what they do with that is cover all of it. They cover the, yeah, she hits you first, and yes, she continued to hit you. What, you couldn't restrain her? It'd be foolishness, right? What, you couldn't leave the apartment? Oh, she blocked the one-way exit and entrance? So you're just supposed to take it then. Look at all these stories. Look at this. D has a story, Trell has a story. And D says, I know a cat it happened to. He was 16. The female was 26. His parents knew he had 2 offspring with the female, and he is now dead. Died at 42. 16 smashing a 26-year-old. And Trell says, my mom has one friend who smashed like 3 guys I grew up with. As far as I know, she waited till they were 20, 21, and she was 40 plus. And she said his parents knew and did nothing about it. They probably did the whole, well, he a man, he a young man, he getting his rocks off. At least she older. She'll teach him a few things. And Charles says, my older brother, when he was like 22, smashed other of my mom friend. You see? Oh, we don't even, everybody speaks about older men preying on younger women, even, I'm saying women, right? Adult women. So just like we're saying 40-year-old men, and it should even be called preying. 40-year-old men attempting to date in court and have sex with 22, 25-year-old women, right? Nobody speaks about the 43-year-old woman who's getting smashed down by a 22, 23, 25-year-old young man. Nobody, because that's far more prevalent than we would like to give it credit for in this society. Now, it's never going to metastasize into a relationship. Like, it rarely ever actually turns into anything more than it can't even be friends with benefit, than a target practice, right? But that's one of the most open kept secrets in America, is older women who are insufferable to the men of their own age group and older men. So they out here being the target practice for women. I mean, excuse me. Well, maybe even for women, for men and women, 15, 20, 25 years their junior. Right? And D said it impacted him an extremely serious way. He struggled for the majority of his life because of the trauma. Meanwhile, that lady just has to go on in life. And Cornelius says, Mr. Z need to stop putting these R. Shelleys on Front Street. Put it in the book. We're going to start calling them R. Shelleys. That's a good one, brother. That's a good one. R. Shelleys. Because that's what they are. Pun intended. And seriously, let me end it out right here. Love, peace, and chicken grease. I'll pause right here. Y'all go check out other Black Manosphere content, other non-Manosphere content, so y'all don't sound like some of these people out here that are supposedly educated. And I think they truly are, and they're well-spoken, and they're knowledgeable, but somehow, some way, when we start speaking about Black men, Black women relationships, everybody's brain goes to mush, and we go to pointing fingers primarily to Black men. Yeah. Right? So, yeah. And the last comment is, and this fit is so fitting, tie this to the title. And D says, what is wild to me is how they attempted to act like they didn't know where things went wrong. Tying that right to the title, and the struggle could have been avoided. Tying that right to the title, the struggle could have been avoided. A whole lot of people playing plausible deniability and standing on their pride and pretending like they didn't know what went wrong. It's you standing on your pride. And on that note, I'll pause right there. Y'all have a great rest of your day. Love, peace, and chicken grease. Once again, go check out other Black Manosphere content. Check out other non-Manosphere content so you can get your minds right and not sound like some of these people, right? And Mr. Z ended out right there. All right, you guys have a great rest of y'all day.